I know some of you may be wondering what I thought, and I'm just gonna throw it out there at the very beginning, trying not to waste any much time and review the movie as a whole. But I will say this, Star Trek Beyond pays respect to Leonard Nimoy in a very passionate way. Simon Pegg, in terms of writing how to deal with his passing, did a very good job, and I'm proud of him for that. And as for Anton Yelchin, he did, once again, another very good job, and he was a very good actor, and he will definitely be missed. Hi, I'm Tyler, and I'm here to let you know that Star Trek Beyond is no perfect movie. So in Star Trek Beyond, the Starship Enterprise is ambushed by unknown forces, and it crash lands on a mysterious planet that is ruled by a dictator named Krall, played by Idris Elba. And the crew teams up with another inhabitant on the planet named Jayla, played by Sofia Boutella, to stop Krall from obtaining this artifact that could wipe out Starfleet. Now, as a director, Justin Lin fills the gap left by J.J. Abrams very nicely, in my opinion. Whenever the Enterprise is in combat in space, the use of POV camera angles or panning upside down with the ship in flight, it really makes the audience feel as if they're actually in space with the characters. The sets look very practical, very impressive. The CGI, in my opinion, is very detailed and very photorealistic, especially with the main space station in the movie. And the alien creatures are very detailed and very creatively designed, and the action sequences, in my opinion, are a lot of fun to watch. It isn't just the main characters using phasers and that's it. There's a lot of well-choreographed hand-to-hand combat sequences, especially with Sofia Boutella. There's a thrilling chase sequence at the beginning of the third act where they try and escape the planet. And there's even a sequence featuring zero gravity that I thought was pretty inventive, in my opinion. The cast also has great chemistry amongst one another that I think really fits the relations the characters had in the original series. Carl Urban and Zachary Quinto especially were my favorites due to just how polar opposite Bones and Spock are. Because whenever Bones is being his typical sarcastic self and Spock is trying to understand the words he's saying and try to respond with the same words in the same way, I just had a blast. Chris Pine was very believable as the team leaders. Simon Pegg is once again very hilarious as Scotty. And I really enjoyed Sofia Boutella as Jayla, and I wish she was in it a lot more. Her action sequences, like I said, were very well shot, well performed. She has some really cool gadgets that she uses against the enemies. And she has a really cool backstory and a genuine relationship that I felt with Scotty, where she's helping him with his engineering and he is trying to help her with past events that happened to her and Krall. Now, Simon Pegg and Doug Jung wrote this film in order to have the feel and tone of a classic Star Trek episode. And in a lot of ways, this movie does feel like an extended episode, and it works in that way because the characters are venturing out to seek new worlds, they're trying to find other species and communicate with them in a pacifistic way, and like I said, their character reactions feel like the original. But because there is such a big cast, and to their credit, they're trying to give everyone some depth, like Uhura and her relation with Spock, or Sulu's boyfriend, which, by the way, whether you like it or not, you gotta admit, it doesn't ruin anything. In fact, I'd say it's only in it for like 30 seconds at best. But because there are so many characters, some subplots get more attention than others, like say Uhura debating with Krall over Starfleet. I felt like some of that could have been trimmed down to focus more on stuff like, say, Kirk trying to live up to his father's legacy, or, again, Jayla's backstory over how Krall affected her life. And as much as I hate to admit it, I was a little bit disappointed with Idris Elba as Krall. Now, don't get me wrong, Elba gives, once again, a great performance as always, and his creature design was very cool, and in the opening action sequence in the first act, he was very menacing and a very much formidable challenge. But his motivation as to how he felt betrayed by Starfleet and wants revenge on them, it felt pretty standard. I won't spoil it, and they're trying to not make him a typical cliched villain who just wants to rule over everything. He does have a legitimate purpose, but I felt like his motivation was a little rushed just to fit everything in, like the other characters, into the plot. And this is important because he's the villain. He is the big challenge. So you want to give him as much time as you can. And I felt like they really didn't give him enough. So yeah, some characters got less development than others, and unfortunately that includes the villain. But Star Trek Beyond has some really fun action set pieces. The characters who do get focus are very enjoyable to watch and make the movie, and the tone really does feel like classic Star Trek. And for that reason, I'm going to give Star Trek Beyond a 4 out of 5. Guys, thanks as always for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, check out my other reviews at NoPerfectMovie.com. Thank you all so much for watching. Take care.